I'm Francisco Ceja, and this is my HI, humorous interpretation of the strip Kicked Me, Adventures in Adolescence by Paul. Hello class, hi, howdy doody. My name is Mr. Parks, and I'm sure you're all ecstatic to be in middle school. However, it's time to take roll call. Let's get started. I'm sorry for mispronouncing the first name. It looks a little bit like orange jello. Orange. Man, that's orange jello. Okay. Well, orange you, the feisty one. Well, let's see here. Lee Sung. Sung Lee? Oh. Goodness, Fag? Paul, Fag? Paul? Here. Growing up, something that we all have to face at one point or another. Now, whether it's the awkward stretching and sprouting of our anatomy, or it's discovering of harsh truths, sanity isn't real. Growing up is something that we all have to endure. Now, our noble hero, Paul Feig, has been through the awkwardly dressed, pimpled face, and a YOLO sputtering creature that we call the public education system. And through his adventures, provided a nostalgic story for the inner geek, outcast, and all of us. Kick Me, Adventures in Adolescence by Paul Feig. In truly just universe, an adolescent Paul Feig would have to constantly endure the letters E and I taken out of his last name and replaced for an A. But alas, I did. It wasn't always this way. You see, in grade school, there was a commercial coming out for Fig Newton cookies, and this is how I, Paul Feig, became known as Fig Newton. But I came to find that every guy's called gay at least once in his life. Because of my last name, especially me. Which is why I always hated guys named Rick. It seemed like every single type of group of girls was talking about the guy they were absolutely in love with. His name was always Rick. Oh my gosh, Rick is like so cute. Let me tell me about a girl. Rick is so fun. I would give anything to go out with Rick. Oh, I love the way his hair smells. What? The funny thing was, it made me wonder if hospitals provided some type of naming service to properly identify different types of babies. Well, Mr. Ramsey, it looks like your baby is going to be quite the handsome young lad. One that way to persecute and humiliate all the babies in this room someday. Well, I have a name that I suggest. Wait. What about Rick? It seemed like every girl had a crush on was up with one Rick or another. Now, I was never really much for sports, but I was thoroughly convinced that on the first day of my Little League season, because I was dressed appropriately, I would immediately become a baseball prodigy. But I came to find that my first Little League season was nothing short of a nightmare. Hey, what are you doing? Get in the batter's box! Alright, Paul. You got this. Focus. Keep your legs steady. Back correctly. Focus. Strike! Guys, I think I tore something in my hamstring. I'm gonna go to the dugout and cry. Oddly enough, my encounter with the baseball, coupled with the coach's weird handling of my body, did lessen my fear of being pitched to. Now, on the subject of sports, there was always one class that always one class that I never enjoyed. One that I faced with stomach-twisting dread each and every day of my life. Gym. Guten Tag, children. Seeing as today is the first day of high school gym class, we will all be doing something a little different. The name of the game is Killer. Hi, my name is Paul. Now, the object of the game is to be the last man on the field alive. What you'll be using to get your opponents out of the game with? Alive hand grenades. Really? 9. No, each of you will need a big set of balls to get your opponents out. Now, rule number 1, if you hit the ball, you are out. Rule number 2, if you catch the ball that's thrown at you, the person who threw it is also out. And rule number 3. What's rule number 3? I'll be asking the questions. Now go. Get to 9. And as the whistle blew, I'd send it into hell. He said, give up now, Paul. You know you are doomed. Oh. Guys, I got the ball. It's a miracle. No one believed it happened. And at that moment, I heard the whistle blow. It was Mr. Wendell. He was going to come through for me. He had a heart after all. No boundaries, boys. Zip field is open. Oh, what does that mean? It means you don't have to stay on the side of the center line anymore. Now everyone gang up around Paul, and let's finish this game once and for all. But no mercy! What? A load of shit. And after 5 balls exploding to my anatomy, I blacked out. I woke up 10 minutes later, Mr. Wendell standing over me saying I had detention for a week for saying naughty words. Now, though the bullying did die down when I grew older, there was always one thing that never changed. You see, since the age of 7, I've always had a crush on the girl next door to me, Mary. Yes, Mary and I were indeed the star couple waiting to happen. All I needed was the right moment. So, at the beginning of my senior year, I decided to ask Mary out to an event of lifelong devotion and romance. Senior ball. We both walked to the end of our driveways, and in the most beautiful voice and with the most beautiful stare, she looked at me, and she said, "What's up, Big Newton?" Hey Mary, I was wondering if you'd like to go to prom with me? Gee, sure, Paul. I was happy. The next day, my friend Arangelo was telling me everything I needed to know about prom night. Everyone's getting laid. Really? Yeah, man. Why do you think people go to the dance? To dance? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. My head was a mess. I mean, for all the times I thought of me and Mary being together, sex never really entered the equation. I mean, sure, we all had our crushes and we would stare at the girl with the premature breasts as much as the next kid, but no one I knew was getting laid. We'd all been too busy for the past 5 years, getting good grades, playing sports, trying to fit in it. Oh my God. What if that was just me? What if everyone I knew was doing the business? What if all those Friday nights I stayed home watching Benny Hill reruns with my father? Everyone else was engaging in the mature physical act of love. By the time prom came around, my head was a mess. Hey yo, P-Fizz! This is my favorite song, man. Ba-dum-bum-bum, da-ba-dum-ba-da-dum, ba-dum-bum-bum, bum, da-da-da-dum, to the window, to the wall, like to the sweat drips down my... Listen, Mary. I'm really glad you're gonna prom with me. I'm sure glad you asked me. Wow. Thanks. Sure, no problem. Big Newton. And at that moment we laughed. Not as two people who have grown next to each other their entire lives, but at what we had finally become, brother and sister. As the dance neared its end, Mary told me she was thinking about going off with a few of her friends. I didn't want to go as much as she wanted me to. So I decided to head down to a local go-kart track. I stayed there till about 5 in the morning, driving around this small, noisy little car I could barely get into, wearing a tight helmet and my rented tux. But it was on that day I